repair, and overhaul. And we're getting to a point today, based on the lessons we learned in this progression through the regional sustainment framework, where we can have allies close to the point of need repair our equipment. And this is one of the brilliant things about the program that Joe was leading.
DLA was doing RSF before it was a thing. DLA does tremendous work through Allied Cross-Servicing Agreements, AXAs, in transferring fuel currently, and has been doing it for quite some time. You mentioned weapon system commonality and how important that is. DLA does about $1.2 billion in terms of FMS trade. That commonality, again, you're right to point it out, it's essential. But I feel like we really need to take a moment to really acknowledge all that DLA has done to date to ensure that the fungibility of readiness, the ability for us to be ready and have our partners be ready at the same time, it's absolutely huge.
So you both started poking at this a little bit, Colin, with your aircraft comments, and you, Joe, brought up FMS, or foreign military sales. So if we can take it that way for a moment. Not just from a readiness, but from an economic perspective, how does what we do with our foreign military sales, how does that kind of tie into the RSF?
One thing that FMS is aiming to do is to basically ensure that we have greater interoperability. What we want to do here is we want to make sure that our partners are flying similar aircraft, driving similar tanks, sailing similar ships, using similar weapon systems and platforms. Because what that enables us to do is through, earlier I mentioned AXA, FMS, direct commercial sales, tons of authorities exist for us to be able to transfer equipment and necessary supplies to the warfighter, no matter who that warfighter is, if it's an ally, if it's a partner, if it's a U.S. soldier, sailor, serviceman, to be able to transfer that when they need it, as they need it, where they need it. And so, again, the essentialness of the criticality, that is, of foreign military sales, absolutely central to the point of regional sustainment.
I'll add that this is incredibly difficult, and history proves this. So in the latter part of the 1970s, Germany and America got together and tried to co-design a main battle tank. It didn't work out too well, but the idea was well thought through. So if we went to war with the Soviets in Europe, we'd have Germany and America using the same tanks. Both of them could be repaired not just at the front line, but the depot level by German mechanics. This could have been transformative. In the end, the Germans built what's called the Leopard 2, which was a kick-ass tank. And the Americans built something called the Abrams, which is also kick-ass, but was completely different.
As we move forward and start looking at these new problem sets, one thing that you brought up is what's the biggest challenge that we're running into? And perhaps the biggest challenge that we're also running into is getting that agreement. What Regional Sustainment Framework is preparing us for is that contingency where we have a conflict where that the figurative pie expands so rapidly that there is no amount of existing supply that can satisfy demand. And so we have to be able to partner. Our allies are starting to realize this. Our partners are starting to realize this. Industry is starting to realize this, that we have to be ready for that rapidly expanding pie of demand in time of crisis. And so Regional Sustainment Framework is aimed at ensuring that not only we are prepared, but our allies are prepared in a way that is both fiscally responsible, but also responsible for the soldiers and sailors and Marines, airmen, the warfighter. Because that warfighter can't be stuck with a piece of busted kit forward. They have to be able to repair that. They have to be able to have that. And by the way, they can't necessarily wait for that transit time. Our adversaries are developing capabilities and have developed capabilities that can intercept our lines of communication. Lines of communication, what does that mean? I know I used a big word there, a big phrase. Basically, our transit. They can intercept the planes and ships that are carrying our equipment back to the United States to get repaired. So we have to be able to anticipate that threat. And that's why regional sustainment is so important. We need to be able to sustain forward.
Yeah, what Joe's talking about is not just an idea. He's registering success right now. I don't know if you want to brag about the agreement that Korean Air and Lockheed Martin just made for the repair of F-15s and F-16s in the Republic of Korea.
Well, they've been doing actually that for quite some time. Korean Airlines has been a leader in that field, and they're seeing a lot of success. For instance, the F-16 now has 4,000 more hours in theater because they're able to do that repair forward. That's huge. 4,000 more flight hours. That's a lot more readiness for the warfighter. We've been working very closely with the Koreans, Japanese, and others to ensure that we have that ability to repair our watercraft forward. And so just last year, we managed to repair a logistics support vessel, an Army logistics support vessel, and we managed to cut off over a month of transit time. That's not including any time in queue.